They were small, slow, and downright underwhelming. The 2008 Barcelona team, the last squad you'd expect to become the most feared in football history. While clubs like Manchester United and Real Madrid were loaded with superstars and egos, Barcelona looked like a group of academy kids thrown into the spotlight. No muscle, no speed, no chance. But how did this soft, little squad go on to dominate Europe and change football forever? To answer that, we have to go back to when it all began. By the end of the 2007 to 2008 season, Barcelona was the laughingstock of Europe. Third place in La Liga, 18 points behind Real Madrid. Ronaldinho, once the smiling genius, looked like he'd forgotten how to smile. Thierry Henry looked lost. And Lionel Messi, the bright young star, was too often sidelined with injuries to make a real difference. The locker room had turned toxic. Ego had replaced effort. Players barely spoke to each other. Training lacked intensity. The final blow came in the Champions League semi-final against Manchester United. They dominated possession at Old Trafford, but one brilliant shot from Paul Scholes ended their European dreams. Barcelona was at a crossroads. The golden era that began with Ronaldinho's arrival in 2003 had faded into silence and frustration. The board, under President Joan Laporta, knew they needed a change. But in the middle of all the chaos, they made the most surprising decision in club history. They handed the reins to Pep Guardiola, a man with just one season of coaching experience with Barcelona. Pep Guardiola was a legend as a player, a product of La Masia, but as a coach, he was a complete rookie. His appointment was met with skepticism. Headlines screamed, too soon, too young, too naive, but Laporta saw something that others didn't: an unwavering belief in the system. From day one, Pep made it clear things were changing. No more passengers, no more egos. Players like Ronaldinho, Deco, and even Samuel Eto'o were shown the door. Pep had one vision, a team that would live and breathe football. And the core of that vision was Lionel Messi. Guardiola didn't just want a team of talented individuals. He wanted players who would sacrifice, who would work together. He made the midfield trio Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets the heart of his system. The training was grueling. Every drill, every movement on the pitch had purpose. It didn't click immediately. In fact, it looked like a disaster. Barcelona dominated possession in their opening match against Numancia, 80% possession, 600 passes, but they lost 1-0. The critics were out in full force. Was Pep's idealism too much? Could he really succeed at the highest level? But Pep didn't flinch. He doubled down on his philosophy. He showed his players the patterns, the passing sequences, the pressing triggers. The goals will come, he told them, and he was right. By mid-September, the floodgates opened. Barcelona started dismantling opponents, scoring goals with surgical precision. The system was clicking into place. Messi, no longer a promising winger, was turning into a cheat code. Eto'o found his form, and Henry, once on the periphery, thrived in Pep's system. Then came the biggest test of all: Chelsea in the Champions League semi-finals. After a goalless first leg at the Camp Nou, the second leg at Stamford Bridge would be Barcelona's hardest challenge. Chelsea played a defensive masterclass, Barcelona pressed, and despite everything, found themselves 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes. The pressure was immense. The referee made controversial decisions, Chelsea players were furious, and Barcelona hadn't even had a shot on target. Yet in the 93rd minute, a deflected pass found Andres Iniesta, and history was made. With one swing of his boot, Iniesta sent Barcelona to the final. Controversy followed them all the way to the tunnel, but they were through. The dream was alive. And then in Rome, against the defending champions, Manchester United, Barcelona delivered the perfect performance. United had the stars Ronaldo, Rooney, and a midfield full of power. But Barcelona had something more: control. A 2-0 victory in the final wasn't just a win, it was a clinic. Pep had taken Barcelona to the top of Europe in his first season. In that single season, Pep Guardiola had redefined what it meant to play football. The world called it tiki-taka, short passes, relentless movement, and suffocating pressing. But within Barcelona, they called it fugo de position, positional play, a perfect marriage of geometry, space, and rhythm. And Pep's greatest weapon wasn't his tactics, it was La Masia. 7 starters in the Champions League final were homegrown. Barcelona had built a dynasty not with money, but with its own bloodline. And the world took notice. From Germany to Spain, from England to the Netherlands, every club started copying Pep's model. Barcelona's system wasn't just about winning, it was about redefining greatness. They made football beautiful again, a game for the mind and not just the body. In a world that was starting to value size and speed, Pep Guardiola showed the world that the greatest weapon was the brain. The revolution had begun, and Barcelona under Pep Guardiola would change the sport forever. And so, the story of Pep Guardiola's Barcelona wasn't just about trophies. It was about rewriting the rules of the game, about turning football into an art form. They didn't just win, they revolutionized the way the world saw the sport. In just one season, they gave us more than a treble. They gave us hope, belief, and a new standard for greatness. Barcelona's beautiful game made us fall in love with football all over again. And Pep? Well, he didn't just become a manager. He became a symbol of what happens when you trust in youth, in philosophy, and in a vision that dares to challenge everything. So, the next time you watch football, remember, it's not just the goals or the victories that define greatness. It's how you play the game and how the game plays you. This was the story of a team that changed everything. The world watched, and will never forget how it felt to witness history in the making.